peace of mind, and you can really create the life you want.
Okay. So if we move on to the next question there about your Coaching Prosperity School, I was wondering if you just could talk a little bit about that and what it involves and some of the success that has come out of that school.
Well, I just stumbled into it. I was coaching coaches one-on-one, and a few of them came to me, some of them very well known, who had books out, they were famous, but they had a hard time with money, and they had a hard time selling, and they didn't like to sell. And so I worked with them one-on-one and had great success. And then I thought, boy, this seems to be widespread among coaches, is that they don't like to sell. And so I decided I'm going to bring 9 at a time into a room and work with them for 6 months and see if I can do with 9 coaches what I did with 1 coach and see if it would still work. Well, it worked great. So I did that for 3 or 4 years. My coaching schools only allowed 9 coaches in at any one time. And then I started participating in Michael Neal's school where he had 50 and 60 coaches in, and started working with them 50 and 60 at a time and found it still worked.
Right.
And so now my coaching school is larger. I've got 50 coaches in now, and we go for a whole year, and it's just evolved by accident.
Okay. And have you always loved coaching, have you always loved selling, or have you just reframed it in your mind of what selling means?
No, I hated selling, and that's why I got into this. I hated it and feared it more than anybody I've ever worked with. I've never met someone yet who had a greater aversion, fear, hatred of selling anything, of talking to anybody about money, about asking for money, about selling myself. All the training I did with Fortune 500 companies, all the speeches I gave, and I used to do 50 to 100 speeches a year.
Wow.
I hated selling those. I couldn't stand it. And so finally, when I worked with my own coach on a way to sell without selling and took the stigma and took the fear out completely, I thought, boy, I wonder if anyone else has this problem. And then I started coaching other coaches, and I thought, my goodness, they all do virtually, especially coaches. I have a private theory about that and this is not, I mean, this first time I've ever told anybody who might tell other people, so I'll probably get in trouble for this.
Exclusive.
But you have an exclusive, you have a scoop, Aaron.
Nice.
This could make you. You could be widespread famous after this.
I hope so.
Even though it could ruin me in the process. But here's my theory, that what leads us to coaching, this seeking that we do, that brings us into NLP, and it brings us into hypnotherapy, and we have this passion for finding out, how do people transform? What is personal growth like? How do people change? That this very seeking part of us that causes us to seek has an element in it that has an aversion to connecting with other people in such a way that's entrepreneurial, that's capitalistic, that actually creates money. It has a real aversion to that. So most coaches are introverts by nature. They're not really joiners, networkers. It's very rare. But they're great coaches, and they're often great speakers and seminar leaders. And they have found an outlet for their true passion. But it still doesn't exist in the world of sales, because the sales thing is the very thing that had them seek transformation. But they haven't solved the final piece yet, which is sales. And that's the final piece of the puzzle. That's the big missing for almost every coach I know.
So have you ever experienced the reverse of that, where someone is known as a coach, but it's more towards because they're a great seller rather than a great coach?
Every once in a while, I find a coach who is just a natural, who loves selling even more than coaching.
Yeah.
Who once they get the client, now they're disappointed because they can't sell the person any. And I interviewed one of them for my book about coaching, The Life Coaching Connection. His name was Brandon Craig. He's like the greatest salesman in the world. And he also coaches.
Yeah.
But he's like 1 in 10,000. He's really very rare.
Okay, cool. So we're nearing the end of the interview now, but I've got one final question, and that would be, if you were to go back to day one, you're fresh out of coaching college, and knowing what you know now, what are 3 bits of advice you would give yourself as you're about to embark on your coaching career?
Advice number 1, slow down. Take your time. The people you're working with have more potential to work with you in bigger ways and refer more of their associates to you than you see, because I would advise myself to slow down and spend more time. The second thing I would advise myself is always place your physical self first, not balance, not have it be, but in the mind, body, spirit, those 3 things, put the body first. Take care of yourself first. When you schedule your workout at the gym, don't schedule it around your business. Schedule your business around that.
Right.
If you take a daily swim, a daily walk, you ride your bike, you play racquetball, anything that you do, have that come first, I would advise. Because when you have the physical part right, everything else flows. And nobody really gets that. They think it's, well, when I earn enough money, I'll have time to go to the gym more often, and they have it reversed. So that would be the second piece. You wanted 3?
Yep, that's right.
My third piece is use books to get clients with, and they don't even have to be your book. But what I found about halfway into this game, and I found it from other coaches, is if I want a client and I think the person has potential, then I want to send him a book. It doesn't have to be by me, but it has to be something that would really blow the mind of that person. And I want to say, before you and I talk, I want you to read the book. That's my requirement for talking to you. And if you won't even do that, there's no way we can work together. There's no way you're going to be able to work with me if you won't even read a book, because you're the problem and you're not ready for coaching. But once you read the book, we'll talk. Now what I find when I've done that with prospects, they are so ready to be coached and work with me after that. Whereas most coaches, 95%, they just have a sales conversation and try to sell coaching, and it doesn't work. And then maybe they'll send them a book later or something, or once they start coaching. But that would be the third piece of advice I would say.
That's brilliant. That's a good little tip there.
Yeah.
So that ends the interview. Thanks a lot for your time, Steve. I know it's probably quite early still where you are.
Well, it's wonderful in Arizona. It's never early in Arizona.
It's never early.
It's always warm and comfortable.
Oh, it's quite rainy here in the UK, so
well,
it's quite a contrast.
Well, that's fine. That's good. I was in London with Rich Litvin, and I just love it there. So I can't wait to get back. I love the rain too. How
did that workshop go?
It was great. Everybody told us it wouldn't work. Everybody said, well, no one in England is going to pay $1,200 for 2 days. They just don't do that. And we said, well, they did. And they loved it.
Brilliant. That's good. Okay, Steve, that's great.
Okay.
I know a lot of people will get a lot of value from this interview, so thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for all you do. I love your website, and it's just such a resource for people worldwide, so thank you for what you do.
Spread the word, Steve.
I will. I certainly will.
Thanks a lot, Steve. See you later.
Okay. Take
Bye.
care.